I would imagine in your term as the United States Attorney for the Southern District, there were things out there that Congress could do easily and improve your life.
I think Senator Kenny is dead on. I mean, we could tighten up the restrictions on the reporting requirements.
Yeah.
You know, we could tighten up identifying those illegal or prohibited individuals who have guns. You know, during my tenure as U.S. Attorney, we made a priority to go after not only felons who had guns, but here in the city of Jackson, we started going after domestic violence convicted individuals who had guns. So we were trying to go after all those prohibited. Illegal aliens are prohibited under our laws from having guns. And we tried to increase those types of prosecutions because we saw time after time after time again, the individuals who are creating the violent crime throughout our cities and throughout our country are those who should not and are prohibited under federal law from having guns.
What was the biggest frustration in that concept that you had? The biggest frustration of seeing that these are the laws, they're not being adhered to, you can't get any people to back you up on them.
The frustration that I ran into were politicians being politicians. And what I mean by that is some Democratic mayors, not all, I had a lot of support for some Democratic mayors from Meridian to, Natchez to Moss Point. I had support for what we were doing in prosecuting violent criminals who illegally had guns. But one particular Democratic mayor here in our capital city was, for whatever reason, opposed to everything that we did in terms of prosecuting violent criminals who had guns. And for the life of me, Paul, I still to this day cannot understand that, but for his political beliefs and his political leanings. And as we saw during the COVID last year, trying to outlaw the possession of firearms in the capital city during the emergency crisis.
You must have watched that Kenny Stokes interview with in a jaded way sometimes, but maybe not jaded. When you heard Kenny Stokes talk about they tried to bring the mayor along with, I guess it was you, to a meeting to stop crime and tackle gun control and tackle gangs, and he didn't even come to the meeting.
Anytime, I will tell you this.
Now, you were on the air with me, and you were too nice to say it at the time.
Kenny Stokes and I do not agree on almost anything, period. But when Kenny Stokes invited me to meetings that he had in his ward, I went, including the meeting he was talking about at that time was a Sunday afternoon town hall at a church in his ward that I showed up. And I can tell you, when I showed up and I saw Kenny's face, he was shocked and surprised that the United States Attorney showed up in his ward on a Sunday afternoon at a church on a town hall meeting. But at the same time, these individuals living in Jackson, living throughout our state, when it comes to crime, they don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. They want somebody to fix it. They want to be safe in their homes and safe on their streets, and that's the way it should be.
But would you agree with me? I think most of them are scared to speak out.
Absolutely, no doubt about it.
And people don't understand. If you're not in that type of environment, you don't understand it. You've got your kids. It's almost like the mafia in the old New York or Chicago, where there is retribution if you squeal.
Absolutely, there's a belief in some communities, especially in our inner cities, that my kids even say it from their school, snitches get stitches. Yeah. If you speak out, you're going to be punished for it. And we try to reinforce that if you come forward, we will help you, we will protect you, but we have to have witnesses. We have to have people to step forward and help us prosecute these cases, otherwise they don't get done.
Well, the other thing that seems to be, and I'm not sure if it's accurate or not, you could speak to this, that he never reached out to Washington under the Trump administration to get any funds as far as hiring more policemen or anything else.
Paul, he did not want the United States Attorney's Office to prosecute violent criminals because I was appointed by President Donald Trump, period. That's exactly what it is. Yeah. You're going to see a different attitude in this next administration because it's a new president, it's his president, but it's a shame that a politician would politicize an issue like crime and reducing crime and fighting crime when this should be above partisan politics. Let me tell you about Kenny Stokes. When I was trying to bring additional federal resources into Jackson under the Department of Justice Operation Legend, trying to bring federal agents surging into Jackson, Kenny Stokes put forward a resolution to do that before the city council, and it passed unanimously. Kenny Stokes did that. Yet every attempt the mayor had, every opportunity the mayor had, he objected and refused and painted this as a quote-unquote militarized zone.
Yeah.
You know, we were trying to militarize. That's not what we did in Kansas City that has a Democratic mayor. That's not what we did in Memphis that has a Democratic mayor. That's not what we did with the other 9 cities that we went into and reduced violent crime. But this mayor, for whatever reason, does not want to work with anyone that is appointed by a different party than he is.
Of all the cities, of course, this is the largest, but of all the other places in the in the Southern District that you were in charge of, probably that stood out as more than anybody else.
Oh, no doubt. The mayor in Meridian, when the mayor in Jackson refused to allow Department of Justice and federal agents to come and help, the mayor of Meridian begged me to bring Operation Legend to Meridian. The mayor in Natchez, literally, Paul, said he had prayed to God that federal agents and specifically Project Eject, our initiative, would come to the city of Natchez. Again, this is not a partisan issue. Reducing violent crime and making people safe is an issue that we should all embrace.
Mike Hurst is my guest. I've had people say that they are or they are not a sanctuary city. I remember the mayor saying something about, I'm not sure how you designate officially, but at some point I think he spoke highly that he was a sanctuary city?
They tried to pass some local ordinances to kind of make it a sanctuary city light, but fortunately our legislature stepped in, I think in 2017, and said no cities can be sanctuary cities in the state of